So, what happens when the fastest growing group of military veterans runs smack into a wall just trying to get the health care they've earned? Well, today we're going to find out. We are diving into a major 2023 report from the Department of Veterans Affairs that looks at exactly. All right, first, let's just get some context. Right now, there are more women veterans in the US than at any other point in history. We're talking about a really powerful community of over 2 million people. And to put that number in perspective, today, women make up about 11% of the entire U.S. veteran population. But that number, it's changing, and it is changing fast. But here's where it gets really interesting. This is the fastest growing group in the entire veteran community. By 2040, projections show they'll make up nearly a fifth, a full 18% of all veterans. That's a huge shift. So, all of this growth makes one question more urgent than ever. When these veterans seek the healthcare they've absolutely earned, what's actually standing in their way? Let's dig in. So this brings us to Section 1, a new era for veterans. The whole face of the American veteran is changing, and the VA system, the government department that provides all their healthcare, is basically racing to keep up. And that's where the report we're looking at comes in. This 2023 Barriers to Care study was a massive project. They talked to over 7,300 women veterans. And here's the really smart part. They talked to women who use the VA and women who don't, just to get the clearest possible picture of the real-world challenges. So what did they find? Well, the study identified what you could pretty much call a wall of barriers. And the first bricks in that wall are the most basic things, just getting information and getting access. Now, when you think of barriers to care, your mind probably jumps to things like, long wait times for an appointment or the hospital being too far away. And yeah, those are definitely real issues. But the number one barrier they found, it's something way more fundamental. And here it is. The single biggest thing stopping women veterans from getting care is simply not understanding the benefits they're entitled to. But look at the gap here. This is what's fascinating. Almost half of women who don't use the VA say this is a problem, compared to about 21% of those already in the system. It's like the front door to care is locked, and they don't even know they have the key. And this isn't just some abstract statistic, right? It's a story of pure frustration. Just listen to this quote from one of the veterans. "I just don't know if VA or personal insurance would be more beneficial. It became overwhelming." You can just feel it, right? It's not about not wanting care. It's about being totally lost in the complexity of it all. And of course, even if you get past that first information hurdle, a bunch of other challenges pop up. We're talking about all the logistical nightmares, ridiculously long wait times, having to travel for miles, and this is a huge one, no childcare during appointments. On top of that, the hours of operation are just completely inconvenient for a lot of people. But look, just getting through the door is only half the battle. This next section gets into a much deeper set of barriers. We're talking about things like safety, comfort, and whether you can even trust the system that's designed to help you. Okay, this is a tough slide, but it's absolutely essential to understand what's going on. The number of women veterans who say they experienced unwanted sexual attention during their military service has jumped a lot in less than a decade. We're talking from 44% to 64%. And experiences like that have a direct, lasting impact on how they approach any kind of institutional care later on. And here is the direct impact on healthcare. 1 in 10 women veterans reported that they have actively avoided using the VA specifically because of these past traumatic experiences. It's quite literally a barrier built from trauma. And that feeling isn't just limited to those with military sexual trauma. If you look at the bigger picture, nearly a quarter of all women veterans have felt uncomfortable, unwelcome, or just not respected at a VA facility. And that feeling, well, it absolutely shapes whether you're willing to seek care and whether you'll keep coming back. So, with all of that in mind, are things actually getting any better? Let's find out. What's cool about this report is it compares the new data to a similar study from back in 2014. So we get this really fascinating then and now look at what's working and what's, well, not. Let's start with the good news, because there is some. There have been some clear, measurable improvements in the actual physical environment at VA facilities. Ratings for stuff like cleanliness, safe parking, and especially accessible parking have gone up a lot. These are real quality of life changes that really do make a difference. But the picture is really complex. While not understanding benefits has improved a bit, it's still the number one barrier. And get this, the feeling that the VA is not sensitive to women's needs has actually gotten a little worse. And other areas, like privacy in the exam room, barely moved. It just goes to show you that progress in one area doesn't automatically mean progress everywhere else. So, knowing all this, where do we go from here? Well, the report doesn't just point out problems, it actually proposes some solutions. So let's look at the key recommendations for how to forge a path forward. Three big recommendations really rise to the top. First, and this is a no-brainer, they have to tackle that number one barrier head-on. Just deliver clearer, more accessible information about benefits. Second, they need to listen to what women veterans are actually asking for. A staggering 4 out of 5 under 35 say they prefer a female provider. That goes right to the heart of that comfort and trust barrier we saw earlier. And third, just fix the basics. So many vets talked about how frustrating it is just to get someone on the phone. Making that one thing easier could make a world of difference. And all of that brings us to this final critical question. The number of women veterans is growing every single day. They answered the call to serve. This report really challenges all of us to think about how the nation will, in turn, answer their call for the care they have so deeply earned.